I am just absolutely loving our adventure children. We've been up in that cloud. We've been up and down the ladder. This ladder. We've met a guy called Moonface. It's just fabulous. I'm having a lovely time. I'm so glad that we're back in our enchanted forest together. It's so fun. I put the bookmark into our chapter book. So I'm going to open it on the bookmark so we can read our next chapter, which is chapter 7. And it's called Beth Makes Some Toffee for Moonface. Of course, they owe him some toffee, don't they? Because they used his big curly slide. And he said they had to bring him some toffee in payment. So it sounds like we're going to hear about Beth making some yummy toffee. How delicious. Here we go. The children talked about nothing else but the faraway tree and its strange folk for days after their adventure. Beth said they must certainly keep their promise to take toffee to Moonface. Promises must never be broken, she said. I will make some toffee if Mother will let me have the sugar, syrup and milk, and then when it's done, you can take it to Moonface, Joe. Mother said they could make toffee on Wednesday after she had been to the shops. So, on Wednesday, Beth set to work making the best, sweetest, chewest toffee she could. Oh, it's making me hungry. She could set it in a pan on the stove. It cooked beautifully. When it had cooled, it was set nice and hard. Beth broke it up into small pieces. She put them into a paper bag, gave one piece each to the others, and popped one into her own mouth. I'll have to go at night, I think, said Joe. I shan't get any time off this week, I know. We're so busy with the garden now. So, that night, when the moon was shining brightly in the sky overhead, Joe slipped out of bed. Beth and Franny woke up and heard him. They hadn't meant to go with him, but when they saw the moonlight shining everywhere and thought of that exciting faraway tree, they felt they simply couldn't stay behind. Wouldn't you have felt like that too? Oh gosh, I don't know if we should be escaping out of our beds in the night, children. Goodness. They dressed quickly and whispered through Joe's door. We're coming too, Joe. Wait for us. Joe waited. Then they were all three of them slipped down the creaky stairs and out into the moonlit garden. The shadows were very black indeed, just like ink. There was no colour anywhere, only just the pale, cold moonlight. They were soon in the enchanted wood, but dear me, it was quite different now. It was simply alive with people and animals. In the very dark parts of the wood, little lanterns hung in rows on the moonlit parts. In the moonlit parts where there were no lanterns, and a great deal of chattering was going on. Nobody took any notice of the children at all. Nobody seemed surprised to see them, but the children were most astonished at everything that was going on. Look, there's a market over there, said Joe to Beth. Look, there are necklaces made of painted acorns and brooches made of wild roses. But Beth was looking at something else, a dance going on in the moonlit dell, with fairies and pixies chattering and laughing together. Sometimes when they were tired of dancing on their feet, partners would fly into the air and dance there in the moonlight. So they're back in the wood, and all the fairy folk have come out to play and hung up little lanterns so they can see, and they're doing beautiful dances and buying beautiful things. Franny was watching some elves growing toadstools. As fast as the toadstool grew, an elf laid a cloth on it and put glasses of lemonade and tiny cakes there. It was all like a strange dream. Oh, I'm glad we came, said Beth in delight. Who would have thought that the enchanted wood would be like this at night? They wasted a great deal of time looking at everything, but at last they got to the faraway tree. And even here there was a great difference. The whole tree was hung with strings of tiny lights that glittered softly from branch to branch, rather like a very enormous Christmas tree. Joe saw something else. It was a stout rope going from branch to branch for people to hold onto when they wished to go up the tree. Look at that, he said. It would be much easier to go up tonight, and all we have to do is just hold onto the rope and pull ourselves up by it. Come on. Other folk and some animals too were going up the tree. Not to the land at the top, but to visit their friends who lived in the trunk of the enormous old tree. All the doors and windows were open now, and there was a great deal of laughing and talking going on. The children climbed up, and when they came to the window of the pixie who had been so angry with them last week because they had peeped in, they found that he was in a very good mood now, actually, sitting smiling at his open window, talking to 3 owls. But Joe didn't think they had better stop, in case the pixie remembered them and threw water over them again. So on they went, holding on to the thick rope, climbing very easily. They came to Silky's house and called her. She was at her stove baking something. "Hello," she said, looking up and smiling. "So here you are again. Just in time too, because I'm baking some cupcakes. And they are the most delicious when they are hot." Her silky golden hair stood out round her tiny face. Here she is. Her silky golden hair stood out round her tiny face, which was red with baking. Joe took out his bag of toffee. "We're really taking them to Moonface," he said, "but do have a toffee." Silky took one and then gave them three hot cakes each. My goodness, how lovely they were, especially when they went pop in the children's mouths. "We mustn't stop anyway, Silky," said Beth. "We've still a long way to go up the tree." "Well, look out for Dame Washalot's washing water then," said Silky. "She's dreadful at night. She knows there are a lot of people up and down the tree and she just loves to soak them with her dirty water." The children went on up. They passed Mr. What's-his-name, still fast asleep and snoring in his chair, and dodged Dame Washalot's water sloshing down. Nobody even got splashed this time. "This really is the funniest tree I ever knew," laughed Franny. "You simply never know what's going to happen." They pulled themselves up and up by the rope and came at last to the top. They knocked on Moonface's yellow door. "Come in," yelled a voice, and in they went. Moonface was sitting on his curved bed, mending one of his cushions. "Hello," he said. "Did you bring me some toffee? That toffee that you owe me? Did you bring it?" "Yes," said Joe, handing him the bag. "There's a lot there, Moonface. Half to pay you for last week's slippery slide and half to pay you if you'll let us go down it again tonight." "Oh my," said Moonface, looking with great delight into the bag. "What lovely toffee." He crammed 4 large pieces into his mouth and sucked with joy. "Is it nice?" said Beth. Answered Moonface, quite unable to speak properly, for his teeth were all stuck together with the toffee. The children laughed. "Is the roundabout land at the top of the faraway tree?" asked Joe. Moonface shook his head. "Obble," he said. "What land is there now?" asked Franny. Moonface made a face. He screwed up his nose. He said very earnestly. "Oh dear, we shan't be able to get anything out of him at all while he's eating toffee," said Beth. "He'll just hobble away. What a pity. I would have liked to have known what strange land was up there tonight." I'll just go and have a peep at it," said Joe, jumping up. Moonface looked alarmed. He shook his head and caught hold of Joe. He cried. He still can't speak because he's got loads of toffee in his mouth. "It's all right, Moonface. I'm only going to have a little peep," said Joe. "I shan't go into the land. I'll just have a look at it." "Oh!" cried Moonface in fright, trying his best to swallow all the toffee so he could speak properly. "Obble!" Joe didn't listen. He went out of the door with the girls and climbed to the last branch of the faraway tree. What strange land was above it this time? Joe peered through the dark hole in the cloud, through which a beam of moonlight shone down. He came to the little ladder that ran up the hole in the cloud. He climbed up it. His head poked out into the land at the top. He gave a shout. "Beth, Franny, it's kind of ice and snow. There are big white bears everywhere. Oh, do come and look." But then a dreadful thing happened. Something lifted Joe right off the ladder and he disappeared into the land of ice and snow above the cloud. "Come back, Joe, come back!" yelled Moonface, swallowing all his toffee in fright. "Ugh, you mustn't even look or the snowman will get you." But Joe was gone. Beth looked at Moonface in dismay. "What shall we do?" she said. Oh my goodness. End of chapter 7. Joe's gone for a peep up through the cloud to see what's there and has been stolen by a snowman. I don't know about this, children. I don't know about it at all. I'll have to wait till chapter 8 to find out what happens. See you in a bit.